listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Jesus, my man, how you feeling, brother? What's going on?
Hey, Jay, I am feeling sizzly again. I'm ready to get in and get it done. So let's go ahead. Let's hit it. Let's just run. Let's do the show. You ready?
I'm always ready. Born ready.
All right.
Oh, it's hot, baby. Hot. Woo! Hot fire.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about it right now. Joakim Noah. I call him Joakim. Listen, he's getting ready to, he's getting ready to retire, man. After some years in the league, after putting in some work, he's going to join his buddy, good old Luau Deng, and they're going to retire. They're going to call it a day. It's going to be over with. You know, that wonderful Bulls team, all of those players now, maybe except for Taj Gibson and probably Derrick Rose. Yeah. Everybody's retired. So, yeah, it's a sad day. But let me ask you, Jay, is Noah a Hall of Famer at the end of the day? When all of this is said and done, will he go into basketball's Hall of Fame?
At first, my first reaction is, why would you even ask such a silly question? There's no way Joakim Noah is going to be a Hall of Famer. And then I said, wait a minute, hold on. This is the Naismith Hall of Fame. This is not the NBA Hall of Fame. That makes a big difference. And you got Joakim Noah, who was a two-time national champion.
Right.
He was also Defensive Player of the Year. First team All-Defensive Player of the Year a couple years in a row.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
It's a possibility. I mean, he's got some awards hanging up there.
Yeah, two-time national champion.
Yeah.
Defensive in the running in the top 4 for MVP.
Yeah.
And gave the Bulls their best record that they had since the Jordan era. Post-Jordan era, Joakim Noah came in with that squad. He was a year before Derrick, and he set the foundation. Remember when he was getting benched, they said, we don't like your shenanigans, so we will bench you. And then between that and Derrick Rose getting hurt again and him taking over a point forward position, I mean, my man was the center running the point. So maybe not, but I think there's a good case for Joakim Noah to go into basketball's Hall of Fame.
It's a very strong possibility. He definitely should go in the Hall of Fame for that jump shot he had. What was that? The whirling dervish?
Yeah, baby. Ooh.
He looked like he was waving planes in out of the O'Hara, telling him to go over to Hangar 22. You know, because you wouldn't teach anybody to shoot a basketball like that. And you wonder, why did Joakim Noah never fix that? Just why did he never fix? Because that was officially broke. Now he had, I can't. Can you tell me? Lonzo Ball probably broke his jump shot when he got into the league, but he's cleaned up his jumper pretty well. Melo's jumper looks pretty good, but Joakim, I want to say that's probably one of the worst jumpers we've ever seen in the NBA. That's just terrible.
Well, it's one of those enigmas. It's like Shaquille O'Neal in free throw shooting. You wonder why in all that time with the money spent on the body and the nutrition, training, everything they get, and still you've got Shaq was a 70% free throw shooter, and Joakim was not a bad free throw shooter. It was just a ridiculous shot that I had no understanding of how an adult made that shot. It seemed like it would have hurt his wrist.
It just looks like something that a kid would shoot on a 6-foot rim in bitty basketball, and they're like, "Oh, look at Johnny!" Oh, and then the dad be sitting talking about, I haven't really worked with Johnny that much shooting his jump shot, but we'll get that fixed. But Johnny's only 7, he's
just a little guy. He's not really ready for it, but we're gonna do something.
The sad part about this with Joakim Noah is that his body just failed him. Like a lot of great players. And I said great with Joakim. I mean, great overall. He's the guy you want on your team. He's the guy you want in your locker room. He's the rah-rah, going to try hard guy. He's going to play. People, a lot of you all have not watched Joakim Noah when he was in his prime, but he was a force to be reckoned with on the defensive end of the court. Joakim Noah could D up, and he could get out and jump out on those threes. He was quick enough actually to stay with the twos. I've seen Joakim Noah get down, smack the floor, and move his feet. So he was a guy who was super versatile. His offensive game, even though it was suspect, even though every once in a while you saw a flash here and there, but it was his defensive prowess, his toughness, his ability to make the players around him better because he was so unselfish on the offensive end that he really didn't try to get his points because he didn't need to. He got $76 million from the Knicks after he was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was amazing that was even on the table.
Yeah.
That you would think that was an offer that a professional team would make to him after the number of injuries he had, not being a shooter at all.
Yeah.
Not being fundamentally sound.
I mean, yeah.
And still that offer was on the table. I don't understand.
Yeah, but again, he's one of those guys who's great in the locker room. And sometimes you'll pay for that. We saw what happened when you bring a good player into the locker room. He could change the course of a locker room and possibly change the course of your franchise. He was one of the glue. He was the glue, I believe, of the Chicago Bulls when those Bulls were tough, when the Luol Dengs were here, when Derrick Rose was here. He was almost like a big brother to Derrick Rose, who looked out for and protected Derrick Rose. So you're looking at a guy who very possibly, is he going to be a Hall of Famer? I'm going to say no, but I won't be appalled if he makes it. I'll actually be sort of happy because this is really a try-hard guy. And if it wasn't for that Achilles tear, he might still be playing in the league right now. But his body, and I'm going to tell you the sad part about it was, if Joakim Noah kept trying to play, I guess because they kept giving him his $76 million, he's like, oh, they give me another check? Yeah, well, I'm going to run it out here. And he was just a shell of himself in the last, half a season that he played. Absolute shell of himself. You hate to see a guy like that go, just go out in flames like that. But a 13-year NBA veteran, his dad was one of the finest tennis players to ever play the game.
Right.
And that athletic ability showed. And, hey, kudos to him. $76 million more in the bank, 13 years in the NBA. Is he going to be an all-star? Not all-star. Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? This is what I'll say. Joakim Noah could give a flying fortitude of something because he won't care if he gets in or not. I don't think so. But I think he just wanted to go out and play the best that he could, help his teammates out. And one thing about Joakim Noah, kept his nose clean. He wore the funky different clothes. He kept his nose clean. He played really well. He was great in the community. And he was really good behind. I wonder if they're going to give Joakim Noah an opportunity to get behind a mic. Like a Bill Whittington here or something like that. I would really like to hear Joakim Noah doing some Bulls games.
Everyone has to do their job. Do your job.
All right, so let's talk about Tom. Let's talk about right now what he's doing with the Knicks. Has Stephen A. Smith happy. He has the Knicks respectable. And it seems like at this point in the NBA season, everybody's making it into the playoffs, especially the Bulls, who are in the 6th seed. Well, maybe 7th seed now after a horrific loss. But we'll talk about that later. But with what Tom did with that team, I was a big Heinrich, Dang. I liked all of them. I liked Gordon. I liked how they played as a team. They were that try-hard, gritty team.
Yeah.
And then bringing in a Joe, it made it all fun and it made it exciting. But did Tom fail with this team, or did the teams that Tom coached in his 5 years with the Bulls, did they fail him?
Look, Tom's only going to play the NBA players that you give him. So if you give him 6 NBA players, he's going to play 6 NBA players. If you give him 7 NBA players, he'll play 7. Tom Thibodeau's like, I'm here to coach players in the NBA. I know what an NBA basketball player looks like, and everybody you gave me from 8 on down, they're just going to sit there. They might as well eat hot dogs and have popcorn and literally could be dressed in street clothes because they're not getting this ball game. And I think Tom Thibodeau was just the type of coach who was like, under protest, I'm going to run these players out here and I'm going to play these guys 59 minutes of a 48-minute game. Basically, that's what I'm going to do because I'm going to do whatever is necessary to win these ball games. Tom Thibodeau, again, was failed by the Bulls' higher echelon because they did not give him the bench. Think about it. If Tom Thibodeau had that Bulls team and then had a bench like what they got right now, you had some wildly veterans out there, guys with 10, 11 years, 12 years in the league who still had a little bit left in the tank, and they could go out there and spot you, maybe and give you a push off the bench. That Bulls team would have had somewhere to go, but inevitably he didn't get enough players, and Tom Thibodeau, on a quiet protest, was like, I'm only going to play the guys who I think I can win with, and if that's 4 guys, we'll just run 4 guys out there, and we won't have a 5th.
Well, they gave you Ronnie Brewer and the bench mob. They gave you some players. I guess you had Taj Gibson, who could run with the starters, and Taj always thought he was a starter, but had to be a reserve.
Taj still balling.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to make any excuses for that Garpax administration. I'm not making any excuses for John Paxson because John Paxson failed for Bulls in not putting a winning team around not only Coach Thibodeau, but around Joakim, around Derek, around Ben Gordon, Kurt Heinrich, Luau Deng. You know, you keep playing around with this. We talked about it in the last segment when we were talking about Russell Wilson coming to the Bears. So how are you going to get Kobe Bryant to the Bulls? The only way to get Kobe Bryant to the Bulls was give up half the Bulls. So you can have Kobe Bryant and nothing else. But the reality, just to your point, he was never on his way. He was never coming. It was a good negotiating strategy. Right. It was a way of saying, look, if you don't pay me and you don't respect me, then guess what? I can be out the door and the Chicago Bulls will take me.
Here's the issue with all that. What you said is exactly right. The Bulls did not take care of their players during the Michael Jordan era. You should have never screwed Scottie Pippen. Right? Now, Scottie Pippen signed for that money. But Jerry Reinsdorf and them knew that wasn't the right thing to do. If you watched the Last Dance,
which you can find when you start looking at the catalog for Iron Skillet, when you start looking at the Sizzle,
got a lot of that.
We talked about it all summer.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that. And Jerry Reinsdorf knew that Scottie Pippen was making a bad deal. What Jerry Reinsdorf should have done was look down into his globe and looked into the future about 15, 20 years. How is not paying Scottie Pippen and other players like that going to affect me down the road? Because we see since then, since they got lucky with the ping pong balls with Derrick Rose, you have not seen a top flight guy come and sign with the Bulls since then because the reputation went out that the Bulls don't take care of their players. Jerry Reinsdorf should have figured something out. When Scottie Pippen came in here crying about his deal, Jerry Reinsdorf should have tore that deal up and gave Scottie Pippen the deal that he deserved. If he would have done that, you might now see the Bulls as an upper echelon team like all the other teams that win year in and year out. But right now you have a Bulls team that is not going to win because they counted pennies and didn't look at the dollars that they were going to be making. And now, what do you have now? The madhouse, the nut house. Well, I'm going to start calling it the nut house on Madison because now you got some guys trying to come in here and fix this nonsense that you guys screwed up, and I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. But when you look at Joakim Noah, again, he was at the back end of not getting the support he needed, and really not being able to be as great as I think he really is as a player.
Yeah.
Is he a Hall of Famer? We don't know. Not yet. But I would not bet against it, and I wouldn't say it's a bad probability that you will see Joakim Noah in the Hall of Fame. Which one? We don't know. But we do know this. If you have not subscribed to any of our platforms, please feel free. You can find us at Iron Skillet Sports 219. At Iron Skillet Sports 219. You can find us anywhere. So anywhere you want to support us, if it's on YouTube, Instagram, anywhere on social media, you can find us. Please like, subscribe, and share. Just hit the button. Thumbs up. Tell me you like it. Tell Jay you like it.
Please.
Tell the world you like it. And that way we can keep bringing you these great little vignettes where you can find out if Joakim Noah, Joakim, is going to be in Hall of Fame. I think that's a great thing.
A vignette would be tasty right about now.
Yeah, I am hungry. So you know what? We got to get out of here. But listen, we're going to see you on the other side. And you know who it is. It's the Sizzle. Hottest talk in the 219. We are the hottest sports talk anywhere in the world. And we will see you on the other side.